This is Survival Paper A7 walkthrough. Today we're gonna go over the 6 questions in section A and the longer section B question. So without any further ado, let's get started with question 1. The mean is 40, the variance is 9. You want to add 5 to the entire dataset, then triple each of the data points. When you add 5 to the entire dataset, it would increase the mean by 5, but it would not change the variance. When you multiply it by a constant, the mean is going to be 45 times that constant, so in this case 135, and the variance is going to be 9 times that constant squared, or 81. Therefore, the new mean is 135 and the new variance is 81. Question 2. F of x is equal to a cos of 2x plus 5. X is between 0 and 2 pi. A is also positive. In part A, you are asked to write down the period. The period of a sinusoidal function, either sine of something or cos of kx, the period is going to be 2 pi divided by the coefficient right in front of the x. So pi radians. Part B, you're given that the maximum value of the function is 10. So if the maximum is 10, that means that a plus 5 has to be equal to 10. Why is this the case? Because the cos of 2x is always between -1 and 1. Because we have one full cycle. Therefore, multiplying everything by a and add 5, the maximum value will be a plus 5. So if a plus 5 is equal to 10, a is equal to 5. We now wish to find the values of x for which the minimum is attained. I'm actually going to combine this with part C. You want to sketch the curve y equals to 5 cos of 2x plus 5. So starting off, we start off at x equal to 0. When x is equal to 0, y is equal to 10. The period is pi radian, so it will complete one full cycle in pi radians. The minimum will occur halfway between the start and the end of a period. So it's going to look like this. This part is pi by 2, that part is 3 pi by 2. And the minimum is 0 because the minimum is 10. The minimum is 5 minus 5 or 0. Going back to this part over here. So the values of x for which we get a minimum is pi by 2 and 3 pi by 2. In part C, you're also asked to indicate the coordinates of the extrema. So let's go from left to right. A 0, 10, B pi by 2, 0, C pi, 10, D 3 pi by 2, 0, E 2 pi, 10. They ask for the coordinates. So if you simply mark it like this, you will lose a mark. Question 3. Part A. Solve the equation g of f of x is equal to 2. G of f of x, where there is x, you now replace it with f of x. So that would be 4 divided by 2 minus f of x. g of f of x is equal to 2 if and only if this is true. So now we just have to solve this equation. 3x is equal to 2, x is 2/3. Part B. You're asked to determine the nature of real roots. So whenever you hear the phrase nature of real roots, it is a big fat Q for the discriminant or delta. F of x is equal to g of x. This is not a quadratic equation yet, so we have to make it a quadratic equation. To do this, we are going to multiply both sides with 2 minus x. Then change the 4 to the other side. Expanding brackets. Yeah. Minus 4, minus 4. Voila. Now we have a quadratic equation in general form. To evaluate delta, we need to identify the values of a, b, and c. So delta is therefore b squared minus 4ac, or 8 squared minus 4 times negative 3 times negative 8. And this value is less than 0. Therefore, the equation has no real roots. In part C, you're asked to find the inverse of f. How do you find the inverse of a function? Step 1. You swap y and x. So x is now equal to 3y minus 2. Step 2. You isolate y, or you solve for y. X plus 2 is equal to 3y. Y is x plus 2 divided by 3. Step 3. You replace y with inverse f. And that's it. You're done. Question 4 is on discrete random variable. In part A, you're asked to find the value of a. In a discrete random variable distribution, the sum of the probabilities is equal to 1. So a plus 2a plus a is equal to 1. 5a is equal to 1. A is 0.2. Part B, you are now given the expected value of x. To calculate the expected value, we'll sum up the product of the value of the function and the probability of that value occurring. So e of x is equal to 1 times a plus 2 times a plus 3 times 2a plus b times a, and this is equal to 3. Now for the previous part, we found that a is equal to 0.2. If you did not find this value, just go with what you found for the previous part. So 0.2 plus 0.4 plus 1.2 plus 0.2 times b is equal to 3. 0.2 times b, that's 1.2, so b is equal to 6. So that's the end of question 4. Question 5. Part A. You want to show that 8 to the x equal to 4 times 2 to the y can be expressed in the form y equals to 3x minus 2. Notice that we can express all of these terms in base 2. 8, that's 2 to the 3. 4, that is 2 squared. 2 to the 3 to the x, that is 2 to the 3x. 2 to the 2 times 2 to the y. We are multiplying two powers with the same base. So we add the exponents. For this to be true, 3x has to be equal to 2 plus y. So y is equal to 3x minus 2. In part B, you're asked to solve simultaneous equations. As usual, if the question tells you hence or otherwise, never, ever, ever take the otherwise option. The first equation, we just simplify it in part A. It is y equals to 3x minus 2. We also notice that this guy is a number and that guy is a number. So we can obtain a second linear equation. Log root 5 of 5. Let's express 5 in terms of root 5. Log 21 of 21, that is equal to 1. Log base a of a to the n is equal to n. Therefore, this guy is equal to 2. And now we have two equations, two unknowns that we can solve simultaneously. So, therefore, x and y are 3 by 5 and negative 1 by 5, respectively. And that is question 5. Question 6. This question is on probability and the concept of independence. We have a total of 45 students taking arts, music, both or neither. You have 25 that take part in arts. That includes this region and that region. We have 12 students that take part in both arts and music. And we have X students taking part in music. Therefore, if X includes these two regions, this region is going to be X minus 12. If 25 covers both regions, this region over here is 13. Part A. We know that the class has 45 students. And to maximize this, let's assume that we have that all students take part in either art or music or both. For this to be true, 13 plus x has to be equal to 45, or x is equal to 32. This is the absolute maximum that we can have. Furthermore, this number right here must not be negative. So the absolute minimum we have is 12. Because we cannot have a negative number of students taking music only. Therefore, x has to be between 12 and 32. In part B, A is the event that students taking arts, M is taking music, and we are asked to see if there's any value of x, whether it is possible for A and M to be independent. Arts, A and M can only be independent if PA times PM is equal to P of A intersecting M. This basically means that they take both art and music. The probability of a student taking art is 25 divided by 45. The probability that they take music is x divided by 45. the probability that they take both art and music, that is 12 divided by 45. Therefore, 25 times x is equal to 12 times 45. So x is 12 times 45 divided by 25, or 108 divided by 5. However, we cannot have this number of students. This is not a whole number. Therefore, it is literally impossible for a NM to be independent. And this is the end of section A. This is question 7. And in part A, you're asked to find the first and the second derivative. The derivative of cos of x is negative sine of x. The derivative of cos of 2x is negative sine of 2x times the derivative of 2x, because we have to use the chain rule here. So you will get minus 2 sine of x plus 2 sine of 2x. Differentiate this a second time. The derivative of sine of x is cos of x. The derivative of sine of 2x is cos of 2x times the derivative of 2x. So you would get negative 2 cos of x plus 4 cos of 2x. Part B. You're first asked to determine the x-coordinate of stationary points. To do this, you're going to set y prime equal to 0. Using the hint that sine of 2x is equal to 2 sine x cos x, we can then factorize the resulting equation. Factor the 2 sine x out, you're left with 2 cos x minus 1. So this is true if sine of x is equal to 0, or cos of x is equal to 1 by 2. Let's quickly sketch out the unit circle for this. Sine of x is equal to 0. On the unit circle, any point has coordinates cos of x, sine of x. So sine of x is equal to 0 when the circle intersects the line y equals to 0. In this case, as we can see, it's that point or that point. In other words, 0 or pi. But since we're only interested in the interval between 0 and pi by 2, we cannot take pi. Moving on to the second equation. The roots will be the intersection of the line cos of x equals a half with the unit circle. In other words, these 2 points. This angle over here is going to be 60 degrees, or pi by 3, because this is arc cos of 1 by 2. Because of symmetry, this angle over here, because it's going in the clockwise direction, it will carry a negative sign. Therefore, x is equal to pi by 3 or negative pi by 3. But once again, because we are only interested in the interval between 0 and pi by 2, we can ignore this. Now that we have the 2 stationary points, let's plug back into our second derivative to determine the nature of the points. So y double prime is minus 2 cos of x plus 4 cos of 2x. At x equal to 0, the second derivative is minus 2 plus 4, or 2 greater than 0. Therefore, it is a minimum. Similarly, at x equals to pi by 3, y double prime is equal to negative 2 times a half, negative 2 times a half, yes, plus 4 times cos of 2 pi by 3. I'm just going to quickly sketch out the curve y equals to cos of x. Cos of pi by 3 is 1 by 2. Cos of 2 pi by 3, because it is in the second quadrant, the sign is going to be negative. Therefore, negative 1 plus 4 times negative 1 by 2, and you will get negative 3 less than 0. Therefore, maximum. In this part, you have to find a definite integral. The integral of cos of x is sine of x. The integral of cos of 2x is a half sine of 2x. You can use a u-sub for this, or you can just think of it as the reverse chain rule. If you differentiate cos of 2x, you have to multiply 2 at the end. So if you're integrating cos of 2x, then you have to divide 2. Plug in the bounds. The upper bound, there will be 2 sine of pi by 2 minus a half sine of pi, minus 2 sine of pi by 3 plus a half sine 2 pi by 3. Sine of pi by 2, this is 1. Sine of pi, that is 0. Sine of pi by 3, that is root 3 by 2. Sine of 2 pi by 3, that is also root 3 by 2. If it helps, please sketch out the unit circle. Pi by 2, pi, pi by 3, 2 pi by 3. And as we can see, sine of pi by 3 is equal to sine of 2 pi by 3. And the final answer that we will get is 2 minus root 3 plus root 3 divided by 4. Or 2 minus 3 root 3 divided by 4. Either answer is correct. And this is the end of the survival paper A7.